What's up everybody, I'm Ricey and welcome back to a Star Citizen video. I know it's been a while, but I figured Ship Showdown, what is a better time to get back and just slowly start making some Star Citizen videos and talk about a few of the different ships that are going on. So I'm going to release one of these every day till the Ship Showdown is. I'm basically going to talk about the two different ships and then kind of give my opinions versus the two and tell you who I'm going to vote for and make my vote. So I've already actually made my vote for the day. I'll get that at the end of the video. All right, so today is the first day of Ship Showdown. There are 16 ships chosen. All right, so today is the first day of the ships. All right, so today is the first day of the Ship Showdown. That's really hard to say over and over and over. But we have the C1 Spirit versus the MSR. What a way to start the whole competition. Like, that's wild. We have two heavy hitters right off the bat, both from Crusader. Similar roles in the universe, but different. So what do we have? I'm going to pop up screenshots of screenshots that I have, screenshots from the Star Citizen website, stuff like that. But I'm not going to do any in-game stuff. That takes too long just to get to a hangar, all that stuff, just to pull up a ship for 5 seconds. So screenshots, hopefully I have screenshots of everything. If not, I'm going to be reaching out to some friends that have ships and we'll be talking about those. So the C1 Spirit, what is it? It's a cargo hauler. It's a very agile cargo hauler. It is, I can't talk today, I'm all tongue-tied. It is great for a solo pilot, great if you have a friend or a couple of friends. I've had friends in there and they're like, lay on the beds. Honestly, it's a great all-around ship. Now, I currently have one as a loaner for the Zeus. I do not actually have a C1 Spirit. The MSR. Now, it is also a cargo hauler. It is also Crusader. And it is, I guess it's more of a multi-role ship. It is a smuggler class ship in a way. And it is bigger. It's chunkier. It has more guns on it, like actually has manned turrets, and it has the whole data running thing, but that's not in the game yet. So we're gonna take that, throw it out the window, because you can't measure that. Yes, it's got something for future gameplay, but we're talking about right now. Size difference. Now I'm reading off of a list. I talked to my friend ChatGPT and kind of helped me compile a list of all of the stats of everything, and ChatGPT has some stuff wrong, but for the most part it's pretty good. We have the C1 Spirit, which is like a small medium ship, 1 to 2 people usually, and it's a great solo flight. It's great with, like I said, with 2 people. Your co-pilot can control the tractor beam on the back. That's kind of cool to help load cargo. The MSR is I'd say a large medium ship, 2 to 4 people, and it does have like a lot of rooms in it. It has the whole smuggling bay underneath, which is cool. Not really needed, but it's cool. And it's just size wise, it's a bigger ship all the way around. I guess that's the best way to say it. But also it's very soloable. It's got pilot controlled guns and it's got decent shields and everything, so it can hold its own as a solo ship. So now we're talking about size. Let's talk about cargo capacity. This is where ChatGPT said the C1 Spirit only has 48 SCU. It has 64. 48 was the original, but they did bump it up to 64, which was perfect. 64 is so good in the C1, and honestly, if this was between the C1 and the Cutlass Black, the C1 takes it all day long. Sorry, Drake fanboys. I love my Drake, but you just can't. For the same almost stylish ship, the C1 is more agile and all that. But we're not talking about C1 versus Drake. So it does hold 64 SCU, which can do pretty decently with small trade routes and stuff like that and make decent money off of. Now the MSR can hold up to 114, and there is a small shielded area. Don't think the shielded thing works right now. I think it's just shielded. Almost double the amount of SCU, so you can do more, but at the same time it's less agile, so you could smuggle just as well with the C1. the C1 flies great. All right, defensive capabilities. I would say, like, when it comes to fighting, these really aren't the classes for fighting anyways. I'm gonna say they're somewhat equally matched. While the MSR has more guns and it has the man turrets and everything, it has bigger shields, more missiles, it has more weaponry. A better pilot in a C1 can take down an MSR. The C1 is way more agile. It's all speed, agility, and decent weapons, honestly. So a really good pilot in both, I think honestly, the C1 would win. But it's defense, it's offense. These ships are not built for that. These are made for cargo running. Talking about speed, to get across Stanton, I would take either one of these ships. To me, they are equally just as great. Once you fully upgrade their quantum drives, get the good ones in there, they will both just scream across Stanton. That straight line speed that they both have is just fantastic. I use the C1 when I'm just hanging out with friends and I need to get across, and then I end up just hanging out with them in their ships or whatever. But if, say, I'm out in Microtech and they're over in Hurston, I will take my C1 almost every time. It's just efficient and fast and easy just to get out, fly out, and go. But the MSR, when you're also actually working and doing things, will get you from point A to point B really fast as well. So it kind of depends on what you're doing there. Now it's kind of like the big issue is when we're coming down to player-owned ship versus in-game and actual, like, owning the JPEG. The big difference is price. The MSR is not cheap. It's $260. It's available a few times a year. It's not even available throughout the year, so you can only get it usually during the shows and stuff like that. Then there's the C1 Spirit, which is way more affordable comparatively. So the C1 is only $125. I say only, but compared to the $260 that the MSR is, that's a pretty big difference. There's a lot more people willing to pay $120 for a video game versus $260 for a video game. So there's that big difference there. Yes, you can do some things with the MSR that you can't with the C1. It mostly comes down to overall size. So the average player is going to have a C1 in their hangar all the time. Not everybody's going to have the MSR. So that's going to really kind of mess with the vote, I think, because I know where I voted and I know why I voted, and it had to do with something very specific, but it still wasn't an easy vote. Okay, so kind of now that I've kind of broke down the actual, like, logistics of the ships, let's talk my opinions. I love the C1. It has been a great ship to fly around. Like I said, I use it all the time just to go from point A to point B and then leave it there, hang out with friends, whatever. It's got some great paint schemes. It is sleek looking. It is overall just, it's a really good, like, when they released the Spirit series, it has been one of the best looking series that they've come out with in a little while. The MSR, though, is iconic. It's the smuggler ship. It is the Millennium Falcon of the verse, and it is kind of like that one that when I very first saw it, I was like, man, I don't know. It's cool, but I don't know if I like it. And then the more I flew it and the more I got to mess with it, the more I wanted one. Now, some of the screenshots I'm showing here and there, I'm just kind of going to show them randomly. I have no plan on that. But, like, for example, a C1 is big enough to haul, like, a rock miner. And you can actually, I think, put 2 of them in there. So if you're out rock mining with you and a friend and you do that, that's amazing. But the MSR, especially with the most latest updates, you can put the medevac in it. The medevac Ursa fitting in the back of the MSR, and then having a spawn point and the medevac just made the MSR like a small Carrack almost. Now it does have a class 1 bed in the medevac, but it almost makes the MSR an amazing bunker runner. I mean, that compared to like a C8R, I mean, the C8R is the better bunker runner. It's smaller, easier to get out of stuff, and on and on and on. You can do so much with a medevac NERSA. I call it the NERSA in the back of an MSR. Now, you do lose cargo space by doing that, but who knows? So that's kind of a big thing for it. That's another reason I really like it. And it makes, when you're coming down to logistics of this, to have these two almost superstars go head to head in the very first day of the very first round, like this should be like semifinals. It's really going to cut out a lot of stuff. Now, I am going to say my vote had to do with the ship I actually own, because in the end, I don't own a C1. I have a loaner for my Zeus, but I do own an MSR, and I want that paint scheme for an MSR. If I had a C1, I probably would have voted C1 today over the MSR if I owned both of them. So I voted MSR, and it all came down to what I actually owned. Now, at the time of me actually recording this video, I will put like the screenshot of where we are at on the actual vote, since I've recorded this later in the day. And I mean, the MSR is not going to win unless there's some miraculous comeback in the next like 17 hours. The MSR is not going to win, and that's okay. It's okay. I want it to win. I want it to make, I want the paint. It doesn't have to win the whole thing. I just want the paint. It's going to the C1. And I pretty much knew that when voting. So with all that being said, what did you vote for and why? I'm curious. C1, MSR. Why do you like one over the other? Are you just tired of the MSR always being in the ship showdown and you just want something else to be here? Or do you love the MSR? Or do you just truly love the C1? Like, what's going on? What, I mean, like I said, C1's gonna win. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, make sure you put a big old thumbs up on it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out my other content. And we'll be back tomorrow with STV versus the Ursa Medevac. I already know my pick for that. I think y'all do too by already watching this video, but I'll go ahead and cover it. And we'll go from there.